Hey yo, just got the vaccine, which means I got them
Body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Noelle, and like you saw, yes, today's topic is about my second dose of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. So, I live currently in Pasig City. It's one of the cities that compose Metro Manila. And as until a few months ago, Metro Manila was like the epicenter of the COVID-19 infection rate here in the Philippines. So they started issuing vaccines to not just to medical frontliners who were the most prioritized ones, but also to senior citizens and people with comorbidities. A comorbidity just means that in the event that you catch COVID-19, a physical condition that you have will predispose you to getting more severe disease. And one of those comorbidities was asthma, which I have had since I was a child. It's been on and off throughout my life, and I actually do exercise to help manage my asthma, but like most autoimmune things, it's never really going to go away. It's an underlying condition, and so that's why I was one of the Filipinos who were prioritized to getting the vaccine earlier than other people. There are plans later in the year for more Filipinos to get vaccinated. Here in Pasig City, you had to log into your Pasig Pass, which is like the citywide contact tracing and ID solution that they came up with sometime towards the middle of last year. It was initially supposed to be just to help keep track of people going in and out of establishments within Pasig City, and then they eventually started to use it to help keep track of people who wanted to be vaccinated. So yeah, I signed up for the vaccine in March. I finally got called for my first dose in May. I made a vlog for that first dose, which you will see here on this YouTube channel. And because it was the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, that meant that the second dose was meant to be given between 8 to 12 weeks after the first dose. Unlike other COVID-19 vaccines, where the second dose was meant to be given 2, 3, or 4 weeks after the first dose. Here in Pasig, because we're dependent on the national government to supply us with vaccines sourced from COVAX and also the vaccines which the national government purchased, they found it easier to give you the schedule of your vaccine just the day before. So for my first dose, May 12, I got notified that I was meant to be vaccinated on May 11. And they didn't give me the date for my second dose. They just said, we'll contact you again in 8 to 12 weeks. And a lot of the people who were vaccinated around the same time as me in this city had already started getting their shots, their second dose shots, earlier this week. So I was kind of thinking, so it's probably about time for mine too. But I have such a low trust for government services, which, that's Pasig doesn't deserve that from me. They are very efficient, and I was so paranoid that I actually called the vaccine hotline just to see if they were moving things along. And the person who answered said, yes, so the people who were vaccinated around the same time as you were already contacted. Please wait till the end of this week. If you haven't been scheduled yet, then you can call again. And the following day, they texted me at 10 p.m. to tell me that I was meant for vaccination, my second dose, the next day. Thank God I go to sleep late these days, because what if I had gone to sleep at 9? I hadn't heard the text, and my vaccine slot for the next day was at 8 a.m. I probably would not have woken up early enough to catch that text. But in any case, it all worked out. Unlike other people in other cities who were able to take videos of themselves getting injected on the arm, they did not allow me to film the procedure, but they did ask me to look at the completed file, like the actual syringe after the injection, to show me that they had put the entire dose in my arm. And that's because they wanted to alleviate fears of people who had seen a video that went viral of somebody who had gotten their vaccine, but actually the health worker had failed to push the dose into their arm. Nobody intentionally means not to inject the vaccine into your arm. And so they did implement new procedures just to ensure that everybody does get dosed properly. I did experience side effects afterwards, which are actually par for the course for a lot of vaccines. I mean, even for the flu vaccine, you do get a heavy arm, a little bit sniffly and congested afterwards. And so that was also what I expected. The great thing though is that after maybe an hour after the vaccine, I was kind of feeling congested, a little achy. My throat was a little scratchy. So I took a paracetamol, went to sleep for 2 hours, and when I woke up, good as new. I went to sleep last night thinking that maybe I might wake up the next morning feeling like I got run over, which is how I felt during my first dose. And I woke up this morning and it was like nothing had happened. Although some people don't actually get these side effects, but the vaccine still does work for them. So everybody's immune system is different and handles the introduction of pathogens differently. So yeah, that's just my experience. Now, one of the reasons I really wanted to get my second dose done is because the new variant that's currently circulating in the world, the Delta variant, is that much more transmissible. I'm sure you've read and heard and watched all about how much more transmissible it is. It spreads like wildfire, like they say. And those who have had both doses of their COVID-19 vaccine or have completed the vaccination regimen are much more protected against the Delta variant than those who have just had one dose. So unlike the previous variants that we've encountered, like the Alpha, the Beta, where the first dose did give you a high amount of protection against contracting illness, with Delta, that doesn't seem to be the case because one of the hallmarks of the Delta variant is that people seem to be shedding a lot more of the virus from their systems, which means that when you come across somebody who has the Delta variant, you're more likely to inhale higher amounts of the virus, and that can overwhelm your body's immune system defenses against the virus. So yeah, that's why I wanted to get the second dose done, especially since I live with my parents. They're both senior citizens, and even though they're both vaccinated, fully vaccinated, I still didn't want to take that chance that I might contract the disease and then bring it home to them. And also, nobody wants to get sick, right? And nobody wants to get severely sick. So recently I have been seeing a lot of posts on Facebook about, my friends getting vaccinated and all that. And while that may be a function of algorithm because I always like somebody's post when they get vaccinated, I do think that more and more people are getting the vaccine. So I think our initial hurdles with vaccine hesitancy are, well, almost gone. A little bit like we've overcome those hurdles. Now the main hurdle is really just vaccine supply, because up until now we're still depending on COVAX donations largely. A lot of the purchased vaccines that we have on order are yet to be delivered. I think they're going to be delivered sometime in October. So right now, the vaccines that I have in my arm, they were all donated. So thank you so much to the COVAX signatories for my vaccine. I honestly wish that everybody who is willing to be vaccinated gets vaccinated as soon as possible. And that's because I do believe that the vaccine, along with other health measures, is what's going to help this country overcome this pandemic. My parents are both doctors and they're very in tune with what's happening in the healthcare sector. And guys, I gotta tell you, the illness is real. It's taking so many people. It's Our health workers are, really on the edge and overworked. And if there's anything I can do to lighten the load on the healthcare system, I'm going to do it. And so that's why I got vaccinated. That's why I haven't been meeting up with friends. That's why I haven't been doing group runs, because I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything in my power to help our healthcare workers handle this pandemic. And I believe it's my duty as a Filipino and a citizen of the world to do this. Really, it's up to you. These vaccines are all still under emergency use approval, so they're not mandatory. If you don't believe in their efficacy, I don't know if I can say anything that will convince you. But for me, I do believe in medicine. I do believe in the science behind these vaccines. I have seen the real world studies as well as the phase 3 trial publications, and I'm satisfied in their effectiveness against this virus. Yeah, I do believe that this is the best course of action versus risking it with that virus still out there in the open. Really, the purpose of vaccination is to decrease disease severity. That's why we get the annual influenza vaccine, or that's why we get the pneumonia vaccine every few years. It's so that if you do contract these viruses, your body knows how to handle them, and so you won't get as sick versus if you were unvaccinated against them. Now, obviously, the gold standard is to get neutralizing antibodies, which means that even as the virus enters your nose, your body already just kills them off before they can go and infect cells and infect you. Only a few of the vaccine brands have been able to establish that they have a neutralizing effect. So you can't just defeat this virus just by vaccination alone. You also still have to modify behavior to break that transmission chain. The more vaccinated people there are in a population, the harder it is for the coronavirus to infect somebody who will then spread it to other people. So there you go. That explains why I've chosen to do the things I did, why I'm telling you to go get vaccinated when you get the opportunity to, why I strongly believe that the government needs to do more to get more vaccines in the arms of more individuals, because it's not just us in the Philippines who will be affected, but you know, we might act as the next reservoir for the next variant. So I don't want that to happen. I don't want the Philippines to get labeled as that. And so, yeah, it really is in our country's best interest to get everybody who can get vaccinated, vaccinated. Alright, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. For those of you who watched last week's vlog and expressed your support, I'd like to say a special thank you. You guys are the reason why I am here, why I've been here for the past 11 years. And just let me know what other topics you'd like me to cover on this channel so I can get that rolling. And I will see you again next time.